Hello my friends. Alright, so let's talk low back pain and let's talk planks. Why would you put those two in the same conversation? I wouldn't personally. So I stumbled across a social media post, that's the word I'm looking for, and it said, or they said, these experts, they said if you have chronic or acute low back pain, then you should do a plank for 30 seconds. First of all, chronic and acute or acute. What does that mean? So obviously chronic is you've had something for a very long time. What's a very long time? Probably, I'm sure there is a proper definition, which I probably should know, but anything more than a couple of weeks, I would have thought, is leading into chronic. Double check, let me know in the comments. Acute is something that's short-lived, like I bend over to pick something up, or that's acute. So short term. And like I say, their recommendation was to do a plank for that. Now, even at the best of times, I'm not a huge fan of plank exercise. It's often prescribed quite poorly. It's generally performed really poorly as well. You don't really see people perform it really well. A, what would I do instead? And B, if I was to do a plank, how would I do it? Like, how would I ensure that I'm doing it optimally? So, let's get down to it. What should we do first? Should we do what I would do and then go through the plank thing? Or should we leave it on a high where it's like, this is what I would do with low back pain? Let's do it that way. We'll go into the plank first. I hate the plank exercise. What is the plank effectively doing? Well, you're creating tension and rigidity through your midsection. So kind of pelvis to chest. Let's say that. Obviously there's no movement. You're not flexing, right? You're not flexing the spine, you're not extending the spine, you're not side bending. It's just holding tension. Now, as we stand vertically, obviously there's a natural curve in the lumbar spine. If I go into a horizontal position, so if I go and lay on my front, obviously my internal organs are being pulled by gravity to the floor, which then my abdominal wall has to kind of resist that organ fall, for want of a better description. Fine, so there's going to be a bit of tension just going into that position, or at least there should be, but who knows, you might have some sort of visceratosis, you might be a bit overweight, you might be a bit bloated, and those muscles actually might not be doing very much. That's by the by. Let's just say that your posture is suboptimal, but you don't really know that, right? So you drive a desk, so you're a little bit in a heavy kyphosis of the thoracic spine. Your head is a little forward head posture, you're kind of hanging out, and your lower back is actually a little bit rounded, so your tail is tucking under a little bit. Kind of leaves the back of the disc to be a bit vulnerable. So then you drop into a plank position, you're a little unstable here anyway, you're horizontal, your belly hangs forward, your muscles don't naturally sort of fight up against it, and you slowly go into an anterior pelvic tilt. So you're actually going the opposite way because you're just starting to hang. Very quickly we're kind of getting into a position of, this is not great, this is not ideal. As we move into that position, we're starting to get excessive lumbar curve now we've got too much. So we're trying to teach you how to do the plank perfectly, or as perfect as we can get it. And there's many things that go into this. Most people just think, if you look at the world record as an example for someone who held the plank for a long period of time, by the time he finished the world record, as he gets towards the end, that is not what I would describe as a plank. Technique-wise, it's poor. So, the first thing we need to do is really get you into optimal posture. Now, that when you're on your Jack Jones, as you know, I love a shtick. Shticks are very useful. So we hold shtick, right, in the lumbar spine, around belly button levels. Belly button, fist. Yeah, belly button and fist. About the same level. That typically puts us around L3, so the lumbar disc number 3. 4 and 5 below it. We make contact between the cheeks, shoulder blades, and head. And my fist is just touching my spine. That's roughly perfect posture for my body. Because it's my fist, it's not your fist, old fat hands. filling the gap, right? First of all, can I hold this position vertically? Like, is this comfortable? Yeah, that's not bad. What happens if I test myself? So if I go up against a wall with a little bit of a lean, can I still hold this nice spinal position now with just a little bit of pressure? A lot of you will find you can't do that whilst maintaining good position and posture. How you think you're going to manage to hold a plank with good position and posture? God only knows. Another component of the perfect plank would be breathing correctly. Most people aren't doing that correctly. We take it for granted, I'm alive, aren't I? There's air going in and out. Yeah, sure. Is it optimal? Probably not. How can we figure that out? Well, we like the diaphragm to do most of the work in the breathing. When we inhale, we should get some belly expansion happening first before the ribcage starts to move. How that feels is if you kind of just pop your hands around your waist and relax. Not slouch, but just kind of relax, take tension out of your body. Slowly breathe in through the nose. This is the exciting part of the video. You should feel that there's almost like a 360-degree expansion of your midsection. So your thumbs around the back, obviously the curve is in the side and your fingers in the front. So you should feel like there's a full expansion happening with your breath. Cool, that takes practice. You have to breed familiarity with doing that. So we need good posture, we need breathing, and then we need the ability to brace, right? So we're going to breathe in to fill the abdominal cavity with pressure. Now the pressure comes from obviously the lungs being full, the diaphragm pushing down, and then using the muscles to push up against the organs. Which muscles? Well, we need rectus abdominis, or as I like to say, rectus Chuck Norris, but also pelvic floor. Okay, this sounds complicated. There's a lot of fine detail to a good plank, and we're trying to give you a good plank. So we need pelvic control. You need to be able to tilt the pelvis. You need to be able to breathe properly. You need to be able to brace. So bracing is if someone was about to slap you on your tummy, that you just kind of brace against that. So it's not really hard. It's not a tight contraction. The belly button will come in a little bit, very gently, not massive amount. It's not like I'm trying to put on a tight pair of trousers. Not that, because that will stop the breathing. Wow, okay. There's a lot to think about, and now I'm going to get down on the ground on my elbows. But it's not that simple either. Not for a perfect plank. Because when we're on the ground, we need the shoulder in a nice position. So often you see people kind of slouching in their plank position. We don't want to slouch in there either. So we want to be actively on the ground, palms down, pushing into the ground a little bit, making sure that the shoulder is actually engaged into the body. There's a lot going on. This is tough. So we're going to breathe, we're going to get in the right position, we're going to breathe, we're going to create some internal pressure, we're going to really tighten the quads. Quads are used heavily in a plank. And then we're going to hold that position there's a lot of tension right in the body, as you can imagine. There's a lot of tension in the body when you're in that position. So if I was prescribing a plank, it would probably be for about 10 seconds because you're putting tension into the system. Working really hard, 10 seconds of contraction, then you relax. If you can do all of that with chronic or acute low back pain, more power to you. You is smart. So let's have a look at how that looks. All right, so here we go. So we're going to use the stick to maintain good posture. I will start in the 4-point position. I've got a little bit of space. I've got the contact at my hips, between my shoulder blades and my head. Now, without losing the stick, I'm going to come down into this position, into the plank position. Shoulders engaged, cores active. Take that breath, tight, 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 squeeze, pull. Let that go. Relax. That's quite hard. It's really hard if you're suffering with chronic or acute low back pain. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. Prove me wrong. That is how I would suggest if you want to do plank. Tick all those boxes. Get that absolutely spot on, and then you can plank. Don't even try it without a dowel rod, because I can guarantee you probably aren't going to maintain nice curvatures. You're going to lose your curves. The one that normally goes first is the lumbar spine, so that goes into too much extension, and the head. The head just drops away. And as soon as you're out of those optimal positions, all you're doing is training your body to hold tension in poor posture. So you're training yourself to be strong here. That's not a good look. You don't look very attractive with your head 6 inches away from your shoulders. It's not good. Trust me, attractive people are straight posturally people. Careful. But that is how I would do a plank exercise. If you do have low back pain, chronic or acute, what would I do? Here's the first thing. The first thing I would probably have you doing is going onto all fours. Comfortable all four position. No pressure, no tension. Allow the back to slowly move into extension. Only as far as it's comfortable. So if you're standing around, whatever, you've got pain, rate it 1 to 10. When you get into a new position, sometimes the movement, the transition from one plane of motion to another can create pain spikes. But when you're in the new position, give yourself a second to recheck, right? So if I was standing upright and my pain was a 5, and I get into this position and during the movement it shot to a 7, but now I'm here, it's back to a 5 again. Cool. Find yourself a comfortable place. Let your belly relax, okay? When you have pain, obviously the body tends to tense up. That's quite normal because it's trying to protect itself. So getting into this position, this horizontal position, obviously the spine is relatively unloaded now because gravity is not affecting it in compression forces. So the spine's in a happier place. So relax your tummy, let it hang. Just allow your body to find like a soft space. Then all we're going to do is just work on breathing. So we're going to work on that breath expansion. You're just going to breathe in through the nose, gently, softly, long. So it's a full breath in and out, but without the pressure. You're not trying to force air in. You're just allowing air into your body. It should be quiet. You shouldn't hear yourself breathing. I like to create little mental images. So most of us have a hairy nostril. That's okay. And when you breathe in, mentally think to yourself, I'm not going to let those hairs get stimulated by the breath. Just going to breathe in gently, fully, without the pressure. And what should happen is slowly you get some expansion around your midsection. It may not be perfect, but you'll slowly start to get some expansion. And just hold that comfortable position. Minimal tension in the arms, minimal tension in the legs. Just here, a little bit of lumbar curve. And just breathe. I'm not gonna do this in real time, it's really rubbish. But just allow yourself to relax. Take maybe 6 breaths. When you've done with your 6 breaths, just bring yourself slowly back to kneeling, short kneeling. Now you can be up on the foot, or if you're happy, flat out. Okay, that's entirely up to you. So you just come back to short kneeling. If you're happy in short kneeling, just come up tall kneeling. And I would just do maybe a couple of rounds, a couple of sets of this breath work to begin with. Helps to decompress the spine, helps to relax your body, which is really important if you've got pain. Step 1, tummy breathing. Step 2 would be then some very, very gentle lower abdominal activation. I wouldn't really call it a workout. It's just a mind-body connection. So you're going to be in the same position. You're going to have done, a couple of breaths just to get your body nice and relaxed. And then you're going to tie into an out breath, so a gentle out breath, a very gentle draw in of your belly button. Not aggressive, not fast, it's got to be slow. And no movement, there's no change in your spinal positions. So when someone does this, you can't see that they're doing it unless A, they don't have tops on, or you can actually you can put a finger in their belly button and you can literally just feel them gently pull their belly button away from your finger. not aggressively. It's a very gentle thing. And all you're doing there is you're stimulating the transverse abdominis muscle. It's kind of like Mother Nature's weightlifting belt in terms of its position, but it's very deep to the body, which is why we have to try and activate it gently and softly. If you try and go hard, the bigger muscles take over and they don't really do the work. We don't want them doing the work either. We want this nice stabilizing system to do the work. So you'll be in the same position. You'll have taken a round of breaths to get yourself nice and relaxed. And then on the end of an out breath, so you're just gently breathing out, 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 you gently draw your belly button in. Take a few seconds to do that. Hold for a couple of seconds. You'll find that you probably want to hold your breath as you hold that muscle contracted. Then relax the muscle, then breathe in again. Take a couple of breaths and repeat. Done. Bit of tummy vacuum in the breathing position. That is what I would probably do for chronic or acute low back pain. Sometimes a relief position, so positions that actually help you kind of feel a little bit of relief. 4-point, so on your hands and knees. You can do that over a footstool, you could do that over a Swiss ball. Kneeling tends to reduce the pressure in the spinal column, in the discs. So short kneeling, tall kneeling, laying down flat, that's pretty good. Either on your back or on your front, depends what's going on. You can get into the psoas position. We need a ball for that. Ta-da, one ball. Psoas position, you lay down, you put your feet on something, right angle and right angle. Get your head supported, just breathe and relax. Sometimes this can be absolute winner for taking pressure off the lower back. Obviously, if you go into these positions and nothing is changing within relatively quickly, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, your breathing's calm and relaxed, but the pain isn't changing, slowly move out of position. It's not worth staying in there for. So there we have it. A, how to perform the plank perfectly. Good luck. And also, what I would do if you had chronic or acute low back pain. Give it a go. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you think I'm waffling hot air, you're entitled to your opinions. If you love a plank, fantastic. Are you doing it as per my instructions? Not that they're 100% right. Everyone's got an opinion. Yeah. So until next time, stop planking, more breath work, more postural conditioning. It's a win.